Welcome traders to our daily review. Today is April 20th, 2023, and today is Thursday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, Cisco, one of the largest networking companies in America, has a gap down and continues to sell off. But first, no major economic events scheduled for today. So as we look at the various markets, starting out with the Forex symbols, Canadian dollar slides versus the USD after its CPI results yesterday. And looking at the indices, the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ both trickle lower. Looking at commodities, gold sells off and oil does as well, but gold looks like it's bouncing back. And looking at the stocks, tech stocks are still showing some strength. Question is, will that carry through until next week? And lastly, looking at Bitcoin, selling off to 28K. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So here we go. We're going to take a look at the USD Canadian dollar. And as you can see, clearing off that 8-day moving average. We're still below the 30-day moving average. But nevertheless, look at this. Okay, it's a decent move on the upside after hitting supportish level yesterday. Okay, from that 133-ish level after getting that CPI. And sure enough, we took it higher. So keep that in mind as we're looking at this today. Now, the extension of it could get up to 135-ish later today. Now, looking at the other major pairs, nothing really going on. I'm not going to cover it as a result. But looking at commodities, gold, you can see here at 2,000, slid, went below its support level, and then came right back. Okay, so it's still resilient. It doesn't mean that we're going to be selling off, but it's still trading in a range and it's testing itself. It's testing investors and testing people to see whether or not people are going to jump in or going to let it go. Okay, but it looks like for now, it's going to hold on to where it is right now. Now, jumping into crude oil, we are seeing a weakening of the price of oil below $80 and then filling in that gap. Remember, we had that gap up last week from $76 up to $79 and then went higher. Now it's correcting itself finally because it was turning for a while. And if you look specifically, it hit that 200-day moving average and then broke lower. Okay, that was your entry point. So looking at it right now, the real support level is that next 30-day moving average. Okay, so keep that as an anticipation later today. Now, it's not a high probability trade to get into it now. I would wait to see how much further down it could come down and then look for that bounce. Now, looking at the U.S. market, starting out with the Dow Jones, you can see we're just shy of 34,000 at 33,800-ish level. Now, this is a retracement. All intents and purposes, it is retracing. That's okay, as it's hit that resistance-ish level at 34,000. Now, jumping into the NASDAQ, also just slightly lower, nothing really much to write home about. But as we look at the stocks, tech stocks are relatively strong. If we look at Apple, very resilient here at 167. Facebook made its way back yesterday. And so that has been relatively strong, okay? What has not been strong, and this was the highlight of the day, is Cisco. Cisco getting a gap down and selling off and then closing on your bottom, closing on the low. That's not a good sign. That is definitely not a good sign. So I'd like to see how this is just going to pan out today, because that's going to be a telling sign to the rest of the market. Because Cisco and Intel are such really instrumental companies in the markets. Now, jumping lastly into Tesla. Okay, Tesla came out with earning reports yesterday, missed its targets. The price was down a little bit after hours trading. Now, you got to take into consideration in this environment that we're in, even if it misses, the markets might not react to it. So keep that in mind as we go into today's session, as it's already what we call factored in. So with that said, just have an open mind today, okay? Because all intents and purposes, this still is down for the year significantly. Now, lastly, looking at Bitcoin breaking that 30K to 28,800-ish level. Now, I'm not going to say that we're going to break further, but I'm going to say that we're going to see choppiness here. I think there's going to be a little bit of reluctance to bring this lower than what it is right now. And we're going to see a little bit of choppiness going into the next couple of days. Now, next week, we do have a lot of earning reports from the FANG stock, so that's going to add a lot of weight to the markets. So keep informed about that. This is Fed Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.